Debate season is underway here in the state of Idaho, and last night, 3 candidates for United States Senate position took to the podiums at the Idaho Public Television studios to share how they would like to represent Idahoans. Current Republican Senator Mike Crapo, Democratic candidate David Roth, and Independent Scott Cleveland addressed issues like prescription drug prices, election processes, and the Snake River Dam system. Now, all three also spoke on a really major topic: inflation rates and the process to reduce rising costs. Here's what the 3 candidates had to say.
We have to stop this reckless spending, and it's going to take 10 or 15 years before we can get our financial house back in order. So anything that's going to add to the federal deficit needs to be said no to. Right now, this current Congress and the administration are sending billions of our taxpayer dollars. Those are sacred dollars, and they're being sent to faraway places like Ukraine. We have no business spending money in Ukraine. Our country is rich. It is the most powerful economic engine on earth, and there is plenty of money to go around in this country, but we're aiming it at the wrong things. We're aiming at a bunch of green energy nonsense like Senator Crapo votes for, and we're not spending it on people like our veterans and our homeless people and people that are hungry, people that deserve that money. Our own United States military veterans would be a good example. Again, I go back to there's plenty of money. We just don't have the will to aim it at the right people.
First of all, the fact is that the inflation issue, which you asked about, is one that is caused by the runaway spending in this administration. Before this administration took office, the inflation rate was at 1.7%, below the 2% target of our country. It is now at 8.5%, over 400, maybe 500% of what it was when this administration took office. They have done that by runaway spending that causes that has caused this dynamic, but is about somewhere between $3 to $5 trillion of spending they were able to get through because they could get around the filibuster. I have voted for against every single spending bill in this Congress, notwithstanding the attacks of my opponents. And in fact, I'm being attacked by my opponents for voting against some of the spending that they seem to think was supported. The bottom line here is that we've got to stop the runaway spending. We must not spend beyond our means.
Well, I think that we do need to look at how we can make investments in supply side. It's something that I do agree with Senator Crapo with. We need to make investments in our local businesses, our local communities. We need to follow through on the provisions that have been put forward. These green energy proposals that are included in the Inflation Reduction Act are targeted to build American industry and move us on and give advantage to American industry, which is what we should be looking at doing as we're trying to reduce inflation. We're already seeing in the latest results that inflation in August had slowed considerably. And so as we start to see that inflation on a hopefully soon downward trend, we're seeing gas prices on a downward trend across the country. I think it's really time to say that these things, they're a cycle. We're coming out of one of the worst pandemics in 100 years. Our country saw things that we haven't seen since my grandmother was a little girl. And we have to expect that there's going to be some pains coming out of that. And what we need to do is, instead of being obstructionist to every single policy that comes through and then sit back and complain and say, hey, what we're not allowing you to do isn't working, we need to work together and actually look forward to solutions that will reduce the problem.